as a basketball fan and just looking at the league in general, you'd imagine ratings would be down a little bit with KD out of the playoffs. How are you feeling about the Nets being gone? Because I'll be honest, like I was not a fan with how things started this year with Harden.
Absolutely.
I do think it's unfair to your teammates to take a bunch of personal time the way Kyrie did. Although, I mean, obviously, of course, nobody wishes ill on him, or at least I certainly don't. So, a controversial team, I think it's good for the narrative of the league, like next year, that it makes it more intriguing that they lost this year. So that may have a payoff next year when we get to the playoffs, kind of like how the Heat lost to the Mavericks. To go back to this analogy, the Heat lose to the Mavericks in the finals their first year, and then they become a little bit more human, a little bit more relatable. I think the Nets get some of the same benefit now, but how are you feeling now with them out of the playoffs?
I think from a rating standpoint, I know like Cedric, our friend Cedric, pointed to the ratings being up. That is true. The ratings are up this year in the playoffs. They're up 46% over last year's bubble round.
That was before the Nets lost, though.
Yeah, so understood.
We do have to see.
Exactly. That's my point, because there's a lot of excitement going into this year's playoffs. It's like LeBron, it's the Nets, just some other nice narratives going on. Even really the playing game with just that whole thing with the Warriors and Lakers. I mean, there's a lot of sex appeal going into the playoffs now. I mean, you can't tell me the Milwaukee Bucks and Phoenix Suns in the NBA Finals, that's going to be a draw. Come on. Come on now. Even though that's exciting to us, like I'd be down to see
I love it. But I think you're right about the casual fan.
To a casual fan, I'm wondering, how popular is Devin Booker? Let's just keep it real. I think he's fantastic. And I think it's probably going to be a coming out party if they go to the NBA Finals. I think you'll see the ratings might be like an all-time low, but like his stock rise. I know it's an oxymoron, but I do think that might happen. However, we know what draws in the NBA. It's sexier teams, I mean, this is not the NFL where you can have like New England Patriots with Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? Like big markets work in the NBA. That's just how it works.
Well, and Chris Paul is your big draw, then Giannis, then Booker.
It's Chris Paul.
And then Middleton, who, casual fans don't know. To your point.
It's 101 right now, Atlanta, Philly. I mean, you got to hope that Philly wins this. And somehow Philadelphia beats the Bucks. You have Joel Embiid. And Ben Simmons, who has whatever if I like it or not in terms of him being a superstar player, does have some cachet. I mean, from a Adam Silver perspective, I mean, you're crossing your fingers right now that the Philadelphia 76ers win this game, because an Atlanta Hawks team, and I think Trae Young's fantastic. I think he is, but honestly, this might be a little bit overstating it. He has a lot of AI in him. Like I kind of see.
Yeah, he might be more fun to watch than Embiid.
Yeah, but the thing is, Embiid has the commercials, right? Like Embiid has the social media followers. Like Trae Young is kind of for like people that watch basketball. Just, of course, the sexier player. But Embiid is, from a casual fan standpoint, he has, I think, more of that cachet. So to your point, the Nets being eliminated, that's a huge blow. It is, and I think for the West, with Kawhi, I mean, and I don't know, because I don't know if Kawhi is that big of a draw. Yes and no. I say he is, but kind of on a minor side. And also, he's suffering a massive injury, and I don't think Paul George is a draw. And I think looking at just game one of the Western Conference Finals, which we'll talk about in a sec here, I think that the Suns are on track to go to the finals. And I just think with Chris Paul, I get where you're saying, he has a lot of that appeal too. I think it's going to be a low-rated NBA Finals. I really do. And what I don't like, and I was thinking about this a couple of days ago, is you hear Stephen A. Smith. He's like, "Oh, I want to go to South Beach. I want to go to South Beach in Miami," and that plays in a lot of people's minds because and this might be, I don't know, I might be hurt some people's feelings, but some people are stupid. Let's just keep it real, because they'll take what Stephen A. Smith says about him going to South Beach and equate it to the rest of the teams in the NBA are boring. So you're going to hear him say, "Oh, we got to go to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, game one." I'm like, are you serious? Like, dude, no one cares about you going to the club after game one of the NBA Finals. Like, your job is to analyze the matchups, not about your nightlife. And so that does play into a narrative of like, okay, Milwaukee's boring, Phoenix is boring. Who cares about this series? Instead of focusing it's not a battle of who has the best nightclubs, in the NBA Finals. So that's just my concern, is that you're going to hear like a sports talk narrative, a first take narrative of just like, these two teams just being boring as cities instead of just what's happening on the court. That's my concern. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, and I think if you're ESPN, you're right. I'm sure someone will make a boneheaded comment like that. I mean, I could care less what they say about where they want to go or whatever. I think the narrative you're trying to build is this is arguably a guy he's certainly the greatest point guard of his generation. And this is his shot at a title, that being Chris Paul. And then your other narrative is this is Giannis. Is he the next, is he the next big star? I don't think you want to say like the next LeBron James. He's not LeBron, but is he the next big thing in the NBA? Is he the rising star? Here's his chance. First time he's been to finals. Can he start off 1-0 in the finals, and get fans excited that way? And, the markets are what they are. I hope people can appreciate it for the entertaining basketball that I think it will be.
Too.
But to me personally, I mean, I don't care that much if ratings are down a little bit, especially, like I said, I think there will be intrigue next year that's being built up right now in the Nets having lost. That makes them more interesting to me than if they had won it all this year. And same thing with the Lakers. Like, does LeBron still have stuff in the tank? Can AD take over for the Lakers and kind of lead this team forward now? Can LeBron hand over the reins? So I think next year you may get a bounce back of even higher ratings. But I think you're right. Like, no matter what, you have a megastar, a legend in KD out of the playoffs now, and that is going to cause some sort of a hit in the ratings. And plus, like, the New York market may be gone unless they want to tune into like
For
Philly.
Sure. Like, I'm excited the Nets are eliminated. I mean,
Me too.
To me, it's a situation in which, I don't know, they didn't play together that much anyway. So it's like the villain narrative is like, you can't really hate them. But if they're together, they're going to dominate the rest of the team. So it's just the emotional attachment is not there. And to me, there's other stories. I mean, right now, it looks like the Atlanta Hawks are going to win Game 7. They're up 98-94. With about 34 seconds left, which is we'll talk about that in a second. But
Doc Rivers,
yeah, totally. And Joel Embiid too, from a and Ben Simmons, I think, from a kind of reputation standpoint. But if you look at Trae Young and just like, Devin Booker, Trae Young, like the next ascending stars in the league, and we're not even talking about Zion or Luka yet. I mean, just imagine we're seeing a new NBA possibly in the NBA Finals. That's exciting to me because people. It's just so funny with people. Like, I don't want to get on a rant, but people always complain about the Warriors. Every time the Warriors are in the finals, or every time LeBron is in the finals, and then you get your wish, new stars, exciting stars, and you don't watch. Like, what do you want? I don't understand. Yep. I don't understand what's going to please you. Like, and we'll see in a scenario. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the ratings are up. I think that'd be awesome. I would love to come on here and say I'm completely wrong. Ratings are sky high. People love Trae Young and people love Devin Booker, and their jerseys are selling through the roof. I would love to say that, but I just don't believe it. It's based on how fickle people are, and it sucks that people talk on two sides of their mouths. But nevertheless, I'm excited just to see some new blood, and it's exciting to me because we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, that's what makes it fun to watch. So
yeah, we're seeing a new legacy being carved out right now. Yeah. The ratings were so terrible last year in the finals. It's hard for me to imagine that it could be lower than last year. Like, I think if the ratings were on par with last year's finals, that would be a disaster. Yeah. And so they may do a little better than last year. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll see as well. But I can see it with the markets. I mean, it's quite possible. And last year had LeBron. and Anthony Davis. So, and to me, I think the NBA did a poor job of telling the Cinderella story of the Miami Heat. I don't think that was played up as much, but we'll have to wait and see there.